Welcome in, everybody, to football season. And we are back. We are back. It's the high school football scoreboard show presented by the Beck Center here on GIAA.TV, Rich. And, man, we ended the season with a bang with Inside the GIAA and doing those baseball broadcasts back in May. Took a hiatus, and it's back. GIAA is here. We have so many teams. It's football season. Everybody loves football in the South, especially in the state of Georgia. And we're going to get you kicked off here this evening. Now, tonight is more of an intro show because moving forward, we'll be able to have more score updates and stuff. But tonight, we want to kind of lay the foundation for what should be a long but very successful and fun season and what we have in store for you this year. We are presented by the Beck Center and live here at the Beck Center. Rich, what are you looking forward to this year in another episode of the High School Football Scoreboard Show?
Well, we have a scoreboard show that we're going to air every Friday night, and I'm just looking forward to the GIAA schools that we see early on in the season. They're taking on GHSA schools. They're holding their own. But the goal is to get to Macon. We were in Statesboro last year for the football championship. This year, the football championship is going to be at Five Star Stadium at Mercer in Macon. And there are so many championship teams, runners-up, that want to try to get back to the championship. And we saw some GIAA schools hold their own. Brand new coaches in the GIAA. We got one up there in Noonan, Levi Dunn over there in Heritage. We got Ian Headley over there at Brookstone. New coach at Pacelli with Smitty Grider. And I know that there's other new coaches around the state of Georgia, but those are the ones that come to mind. But you're really proving yourself on the field, and we've had some fantastic scores tonight.
Oh, we have, man. And we're going to be updating you everything that is going on around the GIAA. And, again, it's going to be a fun season. Inside the GIAA is going to start back up here soon as well, and we'll have that throughout football season to talk about softball, flag football, volleyball. It's hitting on all the sports. But here tonight, it is just the high school football scoreboard show presented by the Beck Center. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back from break, we're going to have a special video and a presentation because we got a new thing we're going to be starting this year. We got a Team of the Week. Mallory and Evans is going to be sponsoring it. We're going to learn about that coming up after this break on the High School Football Scoreboard Show, GIAA.TV. It's Thrift, Barringer, Big Rich.
It's a great day for a new Chevrolet from Glenn Smith in Opelika. Hit the road in a rugged new full-size Chevy Silverado with discounts up to $12,250 off MSRP. New Chevy Traverse, the spacious and comfortable ride with affordable pricing. Now with discounts up to $4,000 off MSRP. People from all over the USA are coming to Glenn Smith Chevrolet. Get ready to drive and get ready to smile.
This copyrighted broadcast, presented exclusively on GIAA.TV, is copyrighted by the Georgia Independent Athletic Association, a division of the Georgia Independent School Association, for the private use of our audience. It may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the express written consent of the Georgia Independent School Association.
Hey, this is Drew Butler, former All-American at the University of Georgia and NFL punter for the Pittsburgh Steelers and Arizona Cardinals. As the Vice President of Business Development at Mallory and Evans, Mallory and Evans is pleased to sponsor the GIAA this upcoming 2025 season and present the Mallory and Evans Team of the Week each and every week throughout 2025.
Welcome back, everyone. Thrift Barringer here, Richard Holdridge, GIAA.TV, and it is the High School Football Scoreboard Show presented by the Beck Center, live from the Beck Center here this evening. Football is back, and for those that are just joining us, we are your voices for all things GIAA this year. We had the pleasure and fortune to be able to do the first ever scoreboard show last year, had a success, thought to bring it back this year, and started even earlier, week 1. On top of that, we also have our Inside the GIAA show. We started that last January.
Right.
And now we're going to have it all year long, a part of the many different content and the many different creative stuff we're going to be doing to showcase all the schools, all the sports within the GIAA. Thank you to Clint Morgan, Tommy Marshall, Sam Whitlock, of course, the guy that runs GIAA.TV, Tony Morgan, Kent Copeland, Robert Slocum, and the list goes on and on, could not be here without their support of what we do. So we want to thank them so much. And as you just heard, we're going to have a team of the week. Drew Butler, who is the son of Kevin Butler, a longtime kicker for the Georgia Bulldogs. Drew also a kicker in Division I and went on to play, as you heard there, in the National Football League.
Right.
They are going to have the Mallory and Evans team of the week, and we can't wait for that team to be announced next week. So be ready for that. It'll be announced every week on social media, and we'll talk about it on Inside the GIAA and the High School Football Scoreboard Show. All right, how this works, and for those that are just tuning in, what we will do moving forward, not this week, but moving forward, we'll have scores updated, and then we'll have graphics put up for you to be able to see what is happening. Remember, rankings don't drop till later on in the season, so we won't talk rankings until we get probably close to mid-September, maybe even October is when those officially drop. So be on the lookout for them when the time comes. So tonight, we do have some final scores, and we're going to update the ones we do have. We won't have a graphic up tonight. It's just off of words and being verbal. Yeah. But again, moving forward, we will next week have score graphics on the bottom, and we'll have up-to-date information. But for tonight, what do we got, Rich?
Well, first of all, the PSA to all the 80s out there in the GIAA, anybody that deals with updating the scores on Max Preps, please get those scores updated as soon as possible. And if you have my number, I do have AD's numbers, they have texted me the score as well if you don't believe in Max Preps. But we want to try to get the most updated scores. Now, we're going to start with the 2 games in the GIAA that took place yesterday. Heritage ended up taking on Towers on the road. Towers is a GHSA school. Unfortunately, Heritage out of Noonan fell to Towers 47-7. Now, this team has local ties to where we are in Columbus, Georgia, because it was the debut of first-year head coach Levi Dunn, who was an assistant at Calvary Christian, who won the GAPS state championship in 2020. And Pinewood, how about this score? They knock off the champs. Pinewood defeats Robert Toombs 24-14.
Wow.
Those were your Thursday scores.
Yeah. And now let's go to Friday. We'll first start with Athens Christian, second year in the GIAA. They took down Augusta Prep Day Cavaliers 21-0. So they will start the season 1-0. Other scores, because we had Creekside Cougars take on Dominion Christian. We did not get a final score for that.
No,
and Citizens Christian took on Grace Christian, didn't get a score for that. But Petula Panthers lost to Windsor Knights 32-8. And there's scores so far. We'll now go to the 4A classification, and the Brookstone Cougars just laid the wood.
Yes, they did.
To Tatnall Square, 49-6. Ian Edley in his first season. What a dominant performance by him. And another Columbus team with another dominant performance. They took down Terrell County in Calvary, 48-0. So both of those schools getting off to great starts. Fullington takes down Crisp Academy, 56-8.
Wow. Yeah, Fullington, a great win against Crisp Academy. We did not have a score for Piedmont Academy and Thomas Jefferson. But how about this? FPD, they were the runners-up in 4A last year. They took down ECLA. ECLA is a top private school in the GHSA out of McDonough. That stands for Eagles Landing Christian Academy. At one time, they were in the same group in the GHSA private. They have chose to stay in the GHSA, and that GIAA school from Macon ends up taking them down 31-7. How about Westfield? 44-0 over Brookwood. Westfield School out of Perry, the 3A school. Big shout out to Brett Taylor, Middle Georgia Sports, as he live streams Westfield School's games.
Moving on from Westfield, dominant performance from them. Frederica took down Savannah Blue Jackets 34-7. Good win for them. Strong Rock also took on Northwood. No final score there. Flint River took down Gatewood, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out to
that's a big win.
Joe Howard. Cats win 20-6 over Gatewood Gators, and the Gators, who have played in the state championship game in the past couple of seasons, they lose. Then we also have Georgia Christian taking down Covenant Academy 34-0.
Big win for them.
Big win for them. We also had George Walton and Cross Keys. No final score on that. Tina Pacelli and Stratford, we got an unofficial score.
Yeah, they
actually 49-17.
Yeah, 49-17. Got that score from the former AD that was actually there in attendance in Macon.
Yep.
How about the champs, Deerfield Windsor, taking down Southland Academy, 35-13. Big shout out to Parker Jones, former Deerfield Windsor Knight. Loganville Christian in a razor thin margin, taking down Mount DeSales 28-26.
Baker County and David Emanuel also face off tonight. No official score on that.
I do want to say something on that. Baker County is a small public school. They play freelance 8-man football. So David Emanuel, they're trying to get some teams to play 8-man football. And so you're taking on these public schools that don't compete in the GHSA or GIAA.
A forfeit win, Westwood took down John Hancock Academy. And good win. Picking up a win.
Yeah, the forfeit.
Westwood.
Yeah.
St. Francis and Harvester Christian Academy played. No official score. Tift area, a team that is in 3A and had a pretty good football team last year. They lose to the Lancers 14-7. Does Tift area. And then Kings Ridge beats the Kings Academy.
Yeah, that's a GHSA school. Yeah.
31-0.
Yeah, that's a GHSA school taking on the Kings Academy, playing in their second year in the GIAA. We do not have an official score from John Millage or Bethlehem Christian. Remember, these were two powerhouses. John Millage, a 3A school, Bethlehem Christian. Remember, they had that great record last year, but ended up falling to Bullock Academy in the playoffs. Lanier Christian and Lakeview Academy, no score. How about Southwest Georgia Academy? They were the runners-up last year in 2A out of Damascus. Took down Terrell Academy out of Dawson, 36-14. No official score from Trinity Christian and Brentwood. And we got a rare Saturday game as the defending 4A champs Bullock Academy taking on Portal, which is a private school in Rome.
Well, that's awesome, man. Also, we just got word, and thanks to Stan Whitlock for updating me. Thomas Jefferson and Piedmont will play tomorrow because of lots of rain and lightning. So they're going to try to play tomorrow afternoon. So thank you to Stan Whitlock.
Appreciate that.
For everything he does for the GISA and the GIAA. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back from break, we're going to talk about each classification, some of the top teams we think could potentially win a championship this year. We'll also play the promo for what is to come starting next week, the Mallory and Evans Team of the Week, and more on the high school football scoreboard show presented by the Beck Center here on GIAA.tv.
GIAA.tv now brings you more live coverage of more sports than ever before. Announcing GIAA.tv Lite with live coverage of swim, wrestling, cheer, and more. GIAA.tv Lite is the next best thing to being there. From one screen, you will hear the crowd, see the action, the scores, the stats, and more. With no play-by-play or instant replays, GIAA.tv Lite is half the price of our regular broadcast. Announcing GIAA.tv Plus. With all of your fan favorites, GIAA.tv Plus now adds volleyball, softball, all-star football, and more. Featuring all the play-by-play, instant replays, multiple angles, and more, all for less than the cost of 2 adult tickets to the event. Don't miss 1 second of the action all year long, only on GIAA.tv.
Founded in 1985, the Georgia Independent School Association proudly represents nearly 170 accredited private, independent, and parochial schools across the state. From Tallulah Falls to St. Simon's Island, from Columbus to Augusta, our schools serve over 76,000 students every year. Whether parents are interested in smaller class sizes, more individual attention, a religious-based curriculum, or a safe and structured environment, the GISA provides a strong education, which is the foundation for success. To learn more about the GISA and how they can serve your school, visit us online at www.gisaschools.org.
Welcome back, everyone, here to Inside well, not inside, but we eventually will be on
the high school football scoreboard show.
The high school football scoreboard show presented by the Beck Center. It's been a long day and a long night.
Well, we do 2 different shows for GIAA.TV. It's easy to get them mixed up.
All right, I told you we were going to try to name, and again, this is like putting a blindfold on in the dark and just throwing darts. As much information as we've gotten, this is the first week of the season. You're not going to know who are the state championship contenders, but we will try our best off of what we saw last year, just to name a few teams from each classification. Then we'll talk about a few games, just a few for next week, and we're going to get out of here. But before we do that, I want y'all to listen to this promo from the Mallory and Evans team, because this is the Mallory and Evans Team of the Week.
Team of the Week.
Start next week. Rich?
Can't wait. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and hear that promo.
Here's Drew Butler.
Drew Butler.
Hey, this is Drew Butler, former All-American at the University of Georgia and NFL punter for the Pittsburgh Steelers and Arizona Cardinals. As the Vice President of Business Development at Mallory and Evans, Mallory and Evans is pleased to sponsor the GIAA this upcoming 2025 season and present the Mallory and Evans Team of the Week each and every week throughout 2025.
Thank you, Drew, and we appreciate the partnership with Mallory and Evans for the Team of the Week. All right, let's first start in the 1A classification. Edmund Burke, Flint River, Robert Toombs, and Thomas Jefferson.
Are we going to talk about 8-man football?
8-man football as well, but let's go forward Team 1A classification. Edmund Burke has been the powerhouse there, Richard, but we'll see what's going to happen in 1A, but I would expect Flint River right there and Edmund Burke as some of the top teams who can win a championship next year. How about in the 2A classification, Richard? Remember last year the champion was Brentwood as they took down Southwest Georgia. I still think Southwest Georgia's got a legendary coach. I would put them up there as one of the top teams. How about yourself?
I do like Brentwood and Southwest Georgia in the 2A classification. There's just a lot of teams shifting to different classifications after the reclassification. But I think that's a safe bet that we're going to have the same championship, Brentwood taking on Southwest Georgia Academy.
All right, now in 3A classification, Deerfield-Windsor was a defending champion. I expect John Millett to come back to dominance because last year was a down year. Valwood and Westfield, both great programs. Sift area is really good. I think 3A was the toughest classification last year, and I expect the same thing this year, Rich.
Yeah, how about teams like Frederica, Lakeview, Terrell Academy? I mean, you're going to have just a gauntlet of teams. I know Deerfield-Windsor is the defending champions, but they barely got by Westfield School in the semifinals. They beat Valwood 19-15. I'm going to say that the championship is going to be Valwood and John Millage. I think that's a pretty good bet. I know that Deerfield-Windsor, they are the champions. They may use that as bulletin board material, but I think you can't go wrong picking John Millage, especially when you see athletics. They're a very higher seed, and they go on a deep run. That's what John Millage does.
4A classification, couple teams. I think Brookstone, what they look like tonight against Tatnall, Elite, and Stratford. Those are the two that stood out to me the most tonight. Unbelievable. By the way, we just got a message from our one of our commissioners and a good friend of mine, which is Clint Morgan. He said Clint Piedmont and Thomas Jefferson postponed to tomorrow at 1:30. So thank you again for the update information. So that game will be tomorrow for those out there that are watching right now. Now, going back to 4A, Brookstone and Stratford really impressed me, Richard. But I will never not mention a team that's played in the championship back-to-back years, and that's FPD.
Yeah, FPD is due to try to get a championship.
How about Bullock, who was a defending champion?
Are they flying under the radar? Bullock Academy, who, last year flew under the radar, as a number 2 seed. I mean, they had a great record, and the big knock on Bullock Academy, well, they didn't play anybody. Well, they beat Pacelli. They beat Columbus, by the way. They beat Brookstone out of Columbus. That was a close game. And also Stratford Academy had a bye, and they played Brookstone to a close game. So you can't go wrong with any one of those. How about Bethlehem Christian, though? That's another team that could fly under the radar because they had a very good record last year.
Yeah.
I think that 4A is up for grabs, but I think it's going to be an all-Macon, in Macon, FPD and Stratford Academy. How about that championship?
Oh, man, that could be a lot of fun. And by the way, It's the road to Mercer.
Mercer.
Five-star stadium is back in Macon, and we cannot wait to be there for it. So it's the road to Macon for all these teams trying to win a championship. How about 8-man football, Rich?
So 8-man football, the defending champion.
Which you had the pleasure, we both did, but you did the play-by-play last year for that. That was a ton of fun.
It was a ton of fun, and that team from Albany, Georgia, Sherwood Christian, they are the defending state champions, and they ended up defeating Westminster Schools of Augusta. There's so many talented 8-man football teams, including Georgia Christian, who got a big win tonight against Covenant Academy, 34-0. Remember, they and Sherwood were the two top teams in the middle of the regular season last year, and then Sherwood Christian went on that run, and they win the state championship. And I'm excited. Just 8-man football, they're these smaller schools like a Holy Spirit Prep, like a St. Mary's. They're smaller schools. They don't have a whole lot of students, but they still play 8-man football. And a fun fact, when they're trying to schedule these other teams that play 8-man football, sometimes they'll play public schools like Stewart County or Baker County because they are small public schools that play freelance 8-man football.
That's the beauty of GIAA. They allow the schools to play GHSA schools if they want to. And speaking of which, we have one game in Thomas Jefferson Piedmont. The other one is Bullitt versus Porter. You talked about it for the Irk Russell Classic. Irk Russell, legendary defensive coordinator at Georgia during those 80s national championship teams, did an amazing job at Georgia Southern. And that's where we were at last year at the stadium.
It was a lot of fun.
But Bullitt and Portal is actually another GHSA school from Bullitt County. So we got the top private school taking on one of the top public schools in that area. Should be a lot of fun in the Irk Russell Classic tomorrow afternoon. So good luck to all the GIAA teams that are out there. And by the way, shout out to Brett Taylor. He'll be joining us this year again. The OG of the GIAA.
He is the OG.
Him and his crew of Braden, Matzinga, and the rest. We appreciate them and their support of everything that we do here in the GIAA. Glad that they're on the team. And it's been a fun time. We're going to be here every single Friday night at 11 p.m. on GIAA.tv. Okay? Don't go anywhere. Always know where to go right here on GIAA.tv. Friday nights, high school scoreboard show presented by the Beck Center, and coming soon inside the GIAA Wednesday nights from the Beck Center.
The Beck Center.
From Big Rich, I'm Thrift Barringer saying thank you so much for watching us tonight. We will see you next Friday night. Football's back, and it's better than ever on the GIAA, and we're going to bring you all the action on GIAA.tv. Good night, everyone. We'll see you next week.
GIAA.tv now brings you more live coverage of more sports than ever before. Announcing GIAA.tv Lite with live coverage of swim, wrestling, cheer, and more. GIAA.tv Lite is the next best thing to being there. From one screen, you will hear the crowd, see the action, the scores, the stats, and more. With no play-by-play or instant replays, GIAA.tv Lite is half the price of our regular broadcast. Announcing GIAA.tv Plus. With all of your fan favorites, GIAA.tv Plus now adds volleyball, softball, all-star football, and more. Featuring all the play-by-play, instant replays, multiple angles, and more, all for less than the cost of 2 adult tickets to the event. Don't miss 1 second of the action all year long, only on GIAA.tv.